Shalom, 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 shalom. As always, first I want to give all the praises and the glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and to His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you. Shalom to the hopeful elect brothers and sisters of the house of Israel. As the Bible says, many are called, few are chosen. The chosen are the elect of the true children of Israel. So, we're going to touch on a little bit of this interview that was Elon Musk did a few days ago with the head of the guy you see on the screen now. He's the owner, he's the CEO and the principal owner of NVIDIA, right? I think his name is Wang, and he's sitting there with Elon Musk in, as you can see there, at the US Saudi Investment Forum. So they're there speaking regarding the future. And what we're going to kind of look at is what they touched on, where it says work may be optional, physical currency shall be irrelevant, but the chip, as we keep telling you, boy, which is the end game, will be mandatory, right? The MOTB, because that is the end game of all of this, what these billionaires are all getting together, and these tech billionaires, what they're all coming together for, all right? These are the guys that are laying out the roadmap, basically. But these are the men at the end of the day that are working with the top elitists, super elitists, that are giving out the orders to the governments around the world. All of these governments are basically controlled by men like this, and men who these men report to as well, because someone has to be the face of it, while you have those that are there but have been put in power to do exactly what the script has said, what the super elitist says, what the globalists are actually planning, what the technocrats want to do. Because all of this, as we can then tell you this, all of this, what we see taking place, will eventually lead us to the end game, which is the MOTB chip. So this is a little bit of interview here. All right, I'll play a little bit of it, and then we're going to bring out some scriptures, and I'm going to play you a little bit of another interview, all right, with the other few globalists and reporters. Okay, so hold tight. Get your popcorn out and hold tight. Get your Bibles out, really, and hold tight.
It's contextually sensible and therefore intelligent.
So AI factories and robotics, and we heard it yesterday from His Royal Highness, his vision, how to augment our workforce with roughly tens of millions of robotics to be able to infuse the next wave of productivity and progress. But this scares a lot of folks here when it comes to the future of jobs. So let's hear about your thoughts, Elon and Jensen, on that.
Sure. Well, say like in the long term, where will things end up? Long term, I don't know what long term is. Maybe it's.
When you said that, a scripture just came to mind, right? Brother can put it up on the comment board. My thoughts are not your thoughts, and your thoughts are not my thoughts, all right? Because they've got their own thoughts on how they want to go about this, how they've got their new world order planned. Well, the Lord's thoughts are not their thoughts. He has the Lord's idea, the Lord's prophetic prophecies, the Lord's words are what's ultimately going to overcome all of this that we see taking place. But that kind of scripture came to mind. I think it's Isaiah. Is it Isaiah 50? Oh, also Isaiah 49. It says, my thoughts are not your thoughts, 46, and your thoughts are not my thoughts. I think it's Isaiah 46. But let's listen up anyway.
10, 20 years, something like that. For me, that's long term. My prediction is that work will be optional.
Optional.
So
we'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be like playing sports or a video game or something like that. If you want to work, In the same way, like you can go to the store and just buy some vegetables, or you could grow vegetables in your backyard. It's much harder to grow vegetables in your backyard, but some people still do it because they like growing vegetables. That will be what work is like, optional. And between now and then, there's actually a lot of work to get to that point. I always recommend people read Ian Banks' culture books to get a sense for what a probable positive AI future is like. And interestingly, in those books, money is doesn't exist. It's kind of interesting. And my guess is, if you go out long enough, assuming there's a continued improvement in AI and robotics, which this seems likely, the money will stop being relevant at some point in the future. Now there will still be.
So he says money will stop being relevant at some time in the future. All right. And when he's speaking about money, currency, they're talking about physical currency. All right. Because as you should all know by now, everything that's being planned, everything that these guys are putting in place is to build this new digital AI world of total control. All right. So he says money money shall be irrelevant. So understand this. He's talking about physical currency. Let me just play that back for you. All right. He's talking about physical currency.
And robotics, which this seems likely, the money will stop being relevant at some point in the future. Now there will still be constraints on power, like electricity and mass. The fundamental physics elements will still be constraints, but I think at some point currency becomes irrelevant.
Jensen, any thoughts?
Currency becomes irrelevant. Now, what the brother here put up on the screen here, Brother David, universal basic income, this is all part of what they are planning to do. This is how they're going to get everybody dependent, not everybody, but this is how they're looking to get a lot of people dependent on the government. Universal basic income, which is a system where all citizens receive a regular unconditional cash payment, which will be digital. Won't be cash, it'll be digital payment from the government, which does not require them to work. As he said, work may be optional. All right. Now, let me just quickly jump here. 1 sec. And let me just play one.
How is this transition going to happen? I mean, I totally agree that the world order, the way it is built today, doesn't make any sense. That is not in line with the economic powers like India, Brazil, or Germany. That they don't have a massive role in the international order. But to me, the big question is: so how we are going to go through this transformation? It cannot be gradual. It has to be driven by a certain shock that will.
It has to be driven, this transformation, by a sudden shock. Now, we are going through a phase of gradualism right now, right? Where, every little bit of the puzzle, every part of this new world order is like a puzzle being put together bit by bit. But when they switch off the lights and switch it back on again, as we always say, just like he said, it says it has to be, how are we going to do this? How are we going to go through it? He says it has to be done by a sudden shock.
The big question is, so how we are going to go through this transformation?
The big question is, how are we going to go through this transformation, right? From this current fiat system to this digital global system where the end game will be the MOTB. How are we going to do it, right? Listen to what he says.
To me, the big question is, so how we are going to go through this transformation? It cannot be gradual. It has to be driven by a certain shock that that will.
has to be driven by a
It
certain
cannot be gradual. It has to be driven by a certain shock.
shock. Has to be driven. Now we said this before from the apostles going down. You know, we've said this before and we'll say it again. They are planning, right? Either some type of black swan event or a 9/11 event. Because when they switch off the lights and switch it back on again, that's going to be the sudden shock. That's going to be the sudden shock. All right. So some major event, it could, you know, we can go as far as to say that, you know, that someone could drop a tactical nuke somewhere that causes the system to switch over overnight. The gradualism, what you're seeing is just getting you used. They're in a sense, they're preparing you for this thing. So when they hit you with the shock, you can't say, oh, well, we didn't know it wasn't coming. All right. Well, you were warned because they are planning. These elitists are planning.
That will happen. So now we will reconsider this entire.
No, so if your question is that this period could be turbulent, could have violence,
Yes.
could have conflicts, we are already living it.
Yeah.
I think the last
That's right. We are already living it. All right. We're being, what's the word I'm looking for? We have been when, you know, when they're showing you stuff to get you used to it, we are being, the word's gone straight out of my mind now. You know, it's like they're numbing you to what's coming. All right. They're numbing you to these events because we are witnessing these live events of war, bloodshed, destruction, poverty. We're witnessing it every day on our TVs and our news channels. They're reporting it, the uproars of the people. We are, yeah, that's the word, Tawada. We are being desensitized, all right? That's the way, it was on my tongue, it just slipped away from me. We are being desensitized to what's going on, right? So that when they hit us with that sudden shock, right? Yeah, Tawada, brother David, and Kasad Bakaya, Tawada, brother, right? When they hit us with that sudden shock, having been made less likely to feel like a shock or distress, do you understand? At scenes of cruelty or suffering by overexposure to such images, all right? So they are preparing us, and that's all part of the gradualism as well. So that when they hit you with that shock, you're not as distressed as you would have been if you hadn't seen these things leading up to it. So, as the brother Kasad Bakaya says here, 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11, lest Satan, right, which is the adversary of the Most High's adversary, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Now, this ain't talking about the spirit, just for those of you in the audience that have been edified, this is not talking about the spiritual angel Satan. This is talking about the Most High's adversary, all right? The adversary, the nation of people that are considered an adversary to the Most High God, which are, as you should all know by now, the wicked that the Bible speaks of, all right? The Edomites. So we're not ignorant of his devices, but this is what they're prepping. They're prepping. Everyone's got them. I keep saying this. We all got the memo. They all got the memo. They're all following the script. So they're all pushing it from different directions. All right.
last 5 or 6 years tell us that we are going through a rather turbulent phase.
Mhm.
We have lost a large part of humankind to the pandemic because we were all selfish. We were not willing to share. We were not willing to use.
And you're going to lose a larger share of humankind during what? During the War of Armageddon, during World War III, and leading up to it. But it's during the War of Armageddon is where you're going to lose the greatest amount of humankind.
The global institutions.
As you should know, by then, that's when the Lord, Yahushua, and the angels will turn up to gather the elect of his people First and foremost from Babylon the Great, and then from the four corners of the world.
We have lost a large part of humankind to the pandemic because we were all selfish. We were not willing to share. We were not willing to use the global institutions to deliver responses to different parts of the world. We have lost people. Now, how much more bloodshed do we need to understand that the transition is upon us?
But if 1 billion people stop,
how much more bloodshed, right? You got no idea. There's so much more bloodshed to come. There's so much more bloodshed to come. As the prophet Daniel says, all right? We'll come back to this. The prophet Daniel says, we'll just quickly bring this up on the screen. We'll come back to the video. Daniel says, there is a time coming. We speak about this all the time. This is why we need to be deep in prophecy, right? And I say this because it's something that I love to do. But we, right, the brothers that are out there preaching and prophesying, teaching on the highways and hedges, we need to be deep, knee deep, neck deep in prophecy. Prophecy. That needs to be our main focus. There are many things that we can speak about of the Bible, but the main thing that we need to be focused on, as the Lord said himself, the spirit of Yahushua, all right, in Revelations 19. This is why I believe it's Revelations 19, where John the Revelator says, Revelations 19 and 10, where it says, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So when we're speaking about Yahushua, we should be speaking about him in the spirit of prophecy, of what he's coming to do, what he told the prophets, the disciples, what the prophets of the Old Testament spoke on, of the Lord's coming, second coming, and the prophetic prophecies of the places that the Bible speaks of that are going to play major players in what's to come. So the time of the end is significant. So they think a lot of people died during the pandemic. Well, let me tell you, this is where we're going to see the greatest casualties that the world has ever seen. And this is why the prophet Daniel speaks about it in these terms. When he says, and at that time shall Michael, the chief archangel, the chief of war, the great prince, which stands for the children of thy people. Who are Daniel's people? The Israelites, the children of Israel. Daniel's people belong to another nation. They belong to one nation. And in these times that the prophet Daniel is speaking of is only going to be the elect, the elect, the elect, right, of Daniel's people, of the Lord's people. And there shall be a time of trouble. There's going to be a time such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people, the elect of the nation of Israel, shall be delivered. The great place of deliverance is going to be where? Babylon the Great, the United States of America, the place that is prophetically prophesied to be totally destroyed. The other place, major place of deliverance, will also be out of the Middle East, in Israel, the Promised Land, because the Promised Land is going to be purified with fire. So any of the elect that are out there, they will be delivered before that place is purified by fire. It's going to be hit by nukes, and then the Lord's chariots, the angels' chariots, are going to purify the land of Israel, because Israel shall be inhabited again. The Promised Land is going to be the HQ in the kingdom of heaven that's coming to earth. But Babylon the Great, the United States of America, is never going to be inhabited again. So, everyone that shall be found written in the book, that's the elect, the chosen of the nation of Israel. So there's going to be a time that's coming, all right? He said there's never been a time that's been so much bloodshed. Well, let me just play that back again for you.
Responses to different parts of the world, we have lost people. Now, how much more bloodshed do we need to understand that the transition is upon us?
How much more bloodshed do we need to have to know that the transition is upon us? There's going to be so much more. There's going to be so much more. And I know even now people still don't believe. Like the Bible says, what Romans 3:3, what if some did not believe? Should their unbelief make the word of Yahweh a lie? Let every man be a liar and the word of Yahweh, I'm just paraphrasing it, be the truth. But yeah, it's like many things, isn't it? They wait until it comes upon them, until the disaster hits them, before they're prepared to accept truly what's taking place, what's happening.
But if 1 billion people stop eating meat, I tell you, it has a big impact.
We're developing through technology an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean?
We're developing through technology for consumers to be able to track their carbon footprint. Now, what could they be developing that's going to track everything you do, you buy and sell? What could that possibly be? And we say it time and time again. The microchip, the C-hip, the charagma. That's what they're truly developing.
That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform?
Climate change is caused.
Where they're traveling, how they're traveling, where they're traveling, and they consider this is what they're doing. So they know this. But but like I said, climate change is what they're using to push this. All right. That's the key. They're using that to push it. Now, where was I at? Habakkuk 2. Habakkuk 2 verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. This is what we are, right? We are sitting upon the tower of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And I will watch to see what he will say unto me, right? What the Lord is going to say unto us through the powers of the Holy Spirit. This is why we're able to break down the prophetic scriptures regarding these end times. So we're able to filter what's going on in the world through the scriptures. And what I shall answer them when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon the tables, that he may run that readeth it, the vision of the end times. The vision of the end times is going to accumulate to 3 major events. The MOTB being pushed on a global scale, the microchip, the war of Armageddon, World War III, the nuclear exchange between America and Russia and their allied nations, and the deliverance, the salvation of the children of Israel, which will mean the appearance of the chariots of Yahushua in the 4 corners of the world to gather his people. That vision is plain. It's as plain as day in the scriptures. But it's only going to become plain to many people on the day of judgment, that one day the Lord speaks about, that terrible day. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, and we're very close to it, very close. But at the end it shall speak. It will speak and not lie. Though it tarry, people say, oh, this microchip is not coming, this war of Armageddon is not coming. Though it tarry, okay, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. It will surely come. And we know that's a given, that it's going to come. All right? Because this is what they are planning. Well, so let's go back here.
Meat, if we can have a better taste.
The Davos crowd, the World Economic Forum, the global resetters of Klaus Schwab fame.
The global resetters of the Klaus Schwab fame. The global elites. As I said, we are slowly, gradually rolling They're rolling out the global New World Order system. And the end game is to have the chip to remove fiat currency, to replace it with digital currency. And in the midst of that, they're going to go to war. They're going to bring about this devastation because they know through this devastation, they're going to be able to take total. See, people become so obedient. You see what's going on across there in Ukraine and Russia. The Ukrainians are literally begging for their leader to just throw in the towel because they've had enough of it. They understand there's only so much they're prepared to take.
Are very much, of course, in the mix in all of this. How would you characterize them, and is their agenda really any different in terms of that end state of sort of comprehensive global governance under, of course, their rule?
When you look at the founder and the leader of this entity, Klaus Schwab, he's been frankly pretty transparent about his view of the way the system should work. He calls it stakeholder capitalism, where instead of having companies that are owned by people serving the interests of shareholders by satisfying the needs and the wants of customers, which is the essence of a free market system, you have to produce what people want better or cheaper or with more diverse options than your competitors. And this results, of course, in a massive production of wealth. So Klaus Schwab has publicly articulated a radical restructuring of that system to what he calls stakeholder capitalism, where all the different stakeholders would have a stake and a say in the operation of that company. And it sounds very sophisticated and very complicated, and I think it's meant to intimidate normal people. But when you actually boil it down to its essence, it is really just fascism. You're talking about, when he lists the stakeholders, the first one he mentions repeatedly is governments. So companies then should serve the interests of governments. And
Governments. This is why they call it private and public enterprises, because the super elites have got the private and the public enterprises working together. And who are they working for? They're working for the technocrats, the banking families, the super elites, the globalist elites, which control what we always say, would speak about old money, right? They're the ones that are pulling the strings ultimately. We refer to them also as the Illuminati, the 13 families, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Oppenheimers, the Vanderbilts, all right? The JP Morgan family, all of these families that are intermarried together, these families are what we know today as the banking institutions. They're the ultimate controllers of the strings. These are the people that are going to take us into this war of Armageddon and into this new digital AI world. These people want to be God.
And actually, that's exactly what Benito Mussolini outlined when he described fascism as the merger of state and corporate power. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they call it a public-private partnership. And so the World Economic Forum played an instrumental role in bringing communist China to the state it's at now. Obviously, Marxism, communism, they just destroy massive amounts of wealth. And so the communists in Beijing, working with the communists in Davos, the Marxists, the fascists in Davos, figured out, hey, we've got to change this a little bit. We've got to reintroduce some market mechanisms like pricing, like resource allocation based on certain market forces. But it wasn't because they wanted more productivity or whatever. It was because they wanted to make this totalitarian system more able to, first of all, sustain its...
Because they wanted to make this totalitarian system. That's what it is. Totalitarian. Look it up. Totalitarian system.
Based on certain market forces. But it wasn't because they wanted more productivity or whatever. It was because they wanted to make this totalitarian system more able to, first of all, sustain itself and then able to infect the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. So you see Klaus Schwab openly cooperating with the mass murdering regime in Beijing. And at first that doesn't make sense to people. You see Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum signing a strategic partnership with the United Nations for the implementation of UN 2030 agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals, which is basically just global communism, global tyranny, global fascism. And at first that doesn't make sense. You see Klaus Schwab with a bust of Vladimir Lenin in his office. And at first that doesn't make sense. But I think we have to get past the artificial divisions that have been created in our minds between the different types of totalitarians and recognize that.
Right, that's right. We have to get past, because it's all for theater, really, at the end of the day. The different types of, just like you said, the artificial divisions that they have created to make you believe that, you know, they're on opposite sides of the coin. They're all planning this. The elites, you see, even those government leaders made to themselves truly believe that they're on the other side. You know, that they are against each other. But the elites behind them, the elites that are pushing their buttons, they're all on the same side. The super elites are on the same. So the actual government leaders to themselves can believe in their own minds that, yeah, we are against you. China can believe, you know, Xi Jinping can believe that he is definitely against America, and America president can believe that he's definitely against China, and Russia's against, you know, Putin can believe in his mind that, yeah, we are against these guys in America, and the Americans can say, the president can say, yeah, we're definitely not with it with Russia. But the elites, the globalist elites behind them, they create these artificial divisions between the leaders, but the global elites that control them, they are all working together. So your government leaders can truly believe, legitimately believe in their minds that they are enemies to each other and to each other's beliefs and causes and, you know, and governmental systems. But the elitists, the global elitists that put them into power, they are working together. So they create these artificial divisions between them.
Artificial divisions that have been created in our minds between the different types of totalitarians, and recognize they are all united on the broader vision, which is the subjection of the individual and the nation to this broader master plan that they have, that they think is superior to the decisions we could make as individuals or that we could make as nations.
They are. Let's put it back again. We have to get past this. You see, he says here.
You see Klaus Schwab with a bust of Vladimir Lenin in his office. And at first that doesn't make sense. But I think we have to get past the artificial divisions that have been created in our minds between the
artificial divisions that's been created in your minds. And this is what they've done to these government leaders. They've created these artificial divisions in the minds of these leaders. So they've made them believe that, you know, they're enemies. They've made the British government believe that the Russian government is their enemy. They've made the Russian government believe that the American government's their enemy. They made the American government believe that the Chinese government is their enemy. But the people behind the scenes are all working together. But this is what they have done. These guys are masters. They're like
different types of totalitarians, and
they're all different types of totalitarians. But these are they're like master magicians. They're what do they call it? They're like master witches. It's pure witchcraft. Them I work still.
Recognize they are all united on the broader vision, which is
they're all united on the broader vision, which are the globalist elites.
Subjection of the individual.
Subjection of the individual, which is going to come by this new world order system that's going to be based on this whole digital AI system, which ultimately is going to lead us to the microchip, total control.
And the nation to this broader master plan that they have, that they think is superior to the decisions we could make as individuals.
Broader master plan that they have. Absolutely. That's what they're working on. They've never been separated.
Or that we could make as nations. So Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum are an absolutely integral part of the globalist movement, and I'm glad.
They're an integral part of the globalist movement. Klaus Schwab's.
So Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum are an absolutely integral part of the globalist movement, and I'm glad.
See, they're an integral part of the globalist movement because they're all working together. Every last one of them. So let's just grab a few more scriptures here. I want to show you another quick video. Lord willing, hold tight. Hold tight. All praises to Yahweh Shimi Habushai Ba'Shem Kadash. All right. This is what they are working 24/7. on these plans. They're not divided. The governments are. They've made them believe, like I said, that this government's the enemy of that government, and they truly believe it. But the globalist elites are not. This is why we have to have patience on Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right? Psalms 73. Hold on. See, the end of the wicked contrasted with that of the righteous. All right? These are the wicked, but we can't be envious of them, right? Because they at the end of the day, they got to fulfill the Most High's will, right? So Psalms 73 and 3, it says, start at verse 4. Let's start at verse 3. It says, "For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked, because this is their time to prosper. For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasses them about as a chain, and violence covers them as a garment." Right? Daniel said there's a time coming, right? I said it before. There's a time, he said that there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, and even to that same time. All right, so there's a time coming of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. So they are not in trouble as other men, these globalist banking families, the men that truly run the world. Neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasses them like as a chain, violence covers them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than they could. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish, right? They are what? Corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. Total control. Totalitarian. They're all working together. Let me play this last video for you here, all right? They're all working together.
They need digital ID, because when you suddenly have to control a huge population, a continental population, an international population, you can't just have lots of people, administrators keeping record. No, no, no. You're going to need a supercomputer, a network that keeps...
You understand, IUIC? It's not about sin, right? It's not about sin. It's not about sleeping with the white woman, with Esau, all right? They can't track you. There's a brother put up here. They can't track you with sin, all right? It is truly simple to understand and comprehend what's going on here. It's a globalist plan. The globalists ain't sitting down there thinking how we're going to get these people to sin so that we can create a system based on buying and selling based on how much sins they committed every day, or how are we going to get these guys to sleep with white women so that we can decide whether they can buy or sell depending on if they slept with a white woman or not. All right, and either might. Apparently that's what the ISUPK think, right? Seriously, I've gone beyond. It's gone beyond stupidity in the year 2025. They cannot track you with sin. So even this simple Edomite woman here is laying it out to you. How is this all going to work? Even she's laying it out to you how this is all going to work.
No, no, no. Just have lots of people, administrators keeping record. No.
Did you imagine? Lots of people, administrators keeping records saying, "What sin did you commit today, sir? Let me just write this down quickly. Oh, how many white women did you sleep today with, sir? Right now, okay, you can buy. What about you, sir? How many white men did you sleep with today? No white women, no food for you. What sin did you commit today, sir? Burglary? Right, you can go. You can stock up your basket. What about you, sir? You've not committed any sin today. We're refusing you entry into the store. Those are the administrators, like she said, right? An international population they look to control. They're not going to have administrators writing down records about how much time you have sinned or asking you if you sinned. They're not going to be asking you how many women of other nations have you slept with. I mean, who does that even apply to? Does that only apply to Israelites? The stupidity of that thought, right? That thinking, that thought is just madness. But let me just play. Sorry if I keep stopping this.
You can't just have lots of people, administrators keeping record. No. You're going to need a supercomputer, a network that keeps everything in check. Mm-hmm. Now, it starts off, doesn't it, as the ID card, which we're told, nothing to fear here. This is so because, we don't know who's in the country anymore. You are who you say you are. Mm-hmm. And of course, now we're going to have all these digital ways of doing our tax returns, which will link to our banking app. And I can guarantee you, soon enough, that's going to link back to the digital ID card, because that will be linked to your national insurance number. We've also got now an NHS app. And they exercised that really nicely with the vaccine passports, didn't they? Now, what they're soon going to do, of course, is the NHS app is going to link back to your accountancy app. So when you have days off sick, it automatically registers. Oh, then the government are going to come up with something to help control obesity, aren't they? Use this app to monitor the calories you're having and what food you're buying. So that's going to have to link to the NHS app, which is going to have to link to your accountancy app, which will link to your banking app. You can see where I'm going here.
Microchip, darling. I can see exactly where you're going. They're all going to lead to the to the microchip, right? I can see exactly where you're going. They're all going to lead to the microchip. Right? And she's putting it together well. She's putting it together. She goes, can you see where it's all going?
Soon enough, it's just going to be, why have multiple apps when you could have one big beastly app to do the lot of it?
Why have multiple apps, multiple devices, multiple apps when you can have one big app? And that one big app is going to be that miniature chip. Everything's going to be on that chip. It's simplicity.
And when we end up in that situation, it's going to be incredibly hard to get out of it.
It's going to be incredibly hard to get out of it. And look at that. This video was, can you see that? 1 minute and 44 seconds long. 144. That's the spirit of Yehovah should be able to show. I didn't realize that. You see where I've got the mouse? This actual clip here was exactly 1 minute and 44 seconds long. 144. Take that as a message. Take that as a sign, family. 144. She's telling you. It's going to link the bank. All the apps going to link into one particular app, one particular device, which ultimately is going to be the chip. That's where they're heading. Let's grab this. I see some brothers put out some scriptures here. Let's grab that. It's not. There's no way out. There's no way out. This is the brother David. This is Psalm 64:1. To the chief musician, the Psalm of King David. Hear my voice, O Yahweh, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Right? Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. And she's telling you that this is what they're planning. The workers, the secret counsel of the wicked, and the workers of iniquity. This is exactly what they're planning. It's not that hard. It truly is not that hard. Let me go to, because that's it. Ultimately, let's hit it. Let's hit the jackpot. This is the end game. Or should we say this plays a major part in the end game? Because the actual end game is when they see the chariots. That's going to be the actual end game, when they see the heavens covered in chariots. But this is part of the end game. So what's going to lead us up to it? Revelation 13 and 16. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And every time we show you what the word mark means, it means charagma. All right? Charagma. For edification's sake, we're just going to quickly show you again. The word mark in the Greek, in my right hand or in their foreheads, right? They're going to put a mark. We just do this for edification.
Strong's G 5480. Charagma. Charagma.
See, a stamp or imprinted mark, all right? A thing carved, the mark branded upon horses. This mark that they're going to brand upon you is going to be the microchip, right? The charagma, the delivery device, the chip, all right? You go to the root, it's karaks.
Strong's G 5482. Charax. Charax.
See, a pail or a stake. So the hypodermic needle is going to be that pail, that stake that they're going to use with the chip inside it, that they're going to use that to inject the microchip. Everyone's seen how the microchip gets installed in you. This ain't talking about sin. If you take the mark, you would have committed sin, but the mark in itself is not sin. It is the charagma. It is the karaks. This is the delivery device with the chip in it. A pail or a stake, because it's going to make a pail. It's going to make it's going to pierce your skin, right? With the hypodermic needle. We speak about this all the time, all right? See, a scratch or etching, a stamp as a what? As a badge of servitude. That badge is going to come in the form of a microchip. Everyone's talking about it, and that no man might buy or sell. So you're going to need this in this new AI digital world that they're going to bring in. It's going to start gradualism, and like the man said, at the WF, they're going to hit you with a massive shock, a blackout overnight. Turn the switch off, turn it on again. Say, he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right. Here is wisdom. Do you have wisdom? Is this that hard to see? Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man, and his number is 636, which we bring out all the time. Chi, Psi, Sigma. Chi, Psi, Stigma. 666. All right? We bring it out all the time.
Strong's G 5516. Chi, Psi, Stigma. Chi, Psi, Stigma.
Then we go to the root. Stigma.
Strong's G 4742. Stigma. Stigma.
See? To stick, i.e. to prick. So what's going to prick here? Is going to be the charagma, the delivery system, a mark pricked in or branded upon the body. To the ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their master or commander, branded or pricked, cut into their bodies. That's the charagma, the pale, the karaks, right? The stake into their body, which is the hypodermic needle with the chip in it, to indicate what master or general they belong to. So now you're fully signed up to the beast system. There's no antichrist, right? The word antichrist means anybody that's against Yahushai. This is when you'll be fully signed up to the beast system. And there were even some devotees, your celebrities, your football stars, your film stars, you know, your sponsors, your private institutions, you know, they're going to be the devotees, right? The people that a lot of people worship them, you know, the Kim Kardashians of the world. They're going to be the devotees, right? Who stamp themselves in this way with the token of their gods. They're going to be pushing it left, right, and center. Now, after receiving all this information, how can you truly look at the word mark and believe it means sin? When you take it, you commit sin, but it is not sin. It is a physical thing, device. It is a physical electronic device that they're gonna input into your body via a hypodermic needle, pricked, cut into their bodies. All that information, and you're still looking the other way. Still looking the other way. It's mad, but it's a reality. See, to stick, i.e. to prick. It's as clear as day. And it's a sad state of affairs. But like I said, I can only believe that the Lord has blinded certain people truly not to see this, to see it for what it truly is. But she could. She made it quite clear, boy. I did like the way she said, boy. She said all three devices could have 1, 2. So she's made it quite clear. All right.
To monitor the calories you're having and what food you're buying. So that's going to have to link to the NHS app, which is going to have to link to your accountancy app, which will link to your banking app. You can see where I'm going here.
Can you see where she's going, IUIC? Can you see where she's going, family? Is it that hard to connect the dots?
Soon enough, it's just going to be, I mean, why have multiple apps when you could
Why have multiple apps when you can have one? Even Sally, simple Sally can tell you this.
see where I'm going here? Soon enough, it's just going to be, I mean, why have multiple apps when you could have one big beastly app to do the lot of it? And when we end up in that situation, it's going to be incredibly hard to get out of it.
Absolutely. And that one big beastly app is all going to be on that programmable chip. Everyone's talking about it because everyone can see it. And those are those that the Lord has truly shined the light on them to see this thing. Simple as. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to truly leave it there. This is like ABC. ABC. Simple as 1, 2, 3. ABC, 1, 2, 3. Very simple, man. Shalom to the family. Shalom. All praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and to his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Double honors to the apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone. This is a lot of information I was giving out today, showing you different videos and that. I pray you're edified, that you could see truly what it, what it is, and that there's no, the veil can't be still covered over your eyes, man. There's too much information out there. So shalom to the few sisters as well that have been edified. All praises. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Until we meet again.